All right, Exodus 26, let's call this one Skills, because back in the day, I think it was Tim Hardaway had a commercial talking about his claim to fame as an NBA point guard was having skills. And so that seemed to fit this particular passage where we are talking about the design of the tabernacle, because in verse 1 of chapter 26, it's going to say, moreover, you shall make the tabernacle with 10 curtains of fine twined linen and blue and purple and scarlet yarns. You shall make them with cherubim skillfully worked into them. Again, it is going to say in verse 31, and you shall make a veil of blue and purple and scarlet yarns and fine twined linen. It shall be made with cherubim skillfully worked into it. But there is a slight distinction. It's probably worth noting. In chapter 28, it's going to go on to talk about the priest's garments, and the distinction between skillfully is going to be drawn with scales in particular. Verse 2 will say, and you shall make holy garments for Aaron your brother for glory and for beauty. You shall speak to all the skillful, whom I have filled with a spirit of skill, that they may make Aaron's garments to consecrate him for my priesthood. And the contrast is clearly, see, there's a difference between being skilled and working skillfully. See, you can be extremely gifted, but if you are so inflated with the fact that you are more gifted than others, you can neglect attention to detail, and God is calling for both. See, he is given a certain level of skills, but he is calling over and over again for these skills to be used skillfully. Verse 6, and they shall make an ephod of gold, blue and purple and scarlet yarns, and of fine twined linen, skillfully worked. Again, in verse 8, skillfully woven, down to verse 27. Above the skillfully woven band of the ephod. And again, in verse 28, the skillfully woven band of the ephod. He is saying when he is giving you a gift, thanks out of the mouth is one thing, but nurturing your gift and using it with what we used to call elbow grease, meaning hard work, is another. Sometimes the best way to say thank you is to demonstrate how you can make your gift jump to its potential. This is one of the things that we've talked about around here before. Paul is specifically going to counsel his understudy, Timothy, not to neglect the gift that was given him. Verse 14 of 1 Timothy chapter 4, famous passage which reads, do not neglect the gift which you have, which was given you by prophecy when the council of elders laid their hands on you. Practice these things, immerse yourself in them so that all may see your progress. See, skills properly used are going to demonstrate irrefutable proof of growth. And that's at least what Paul is telling Timothy. And I think that's also something that we can take note of as well. So to the degree that we have been blessed with skills, don't neglect them, because I've seen over and over again in my life and in the lives of others, something we've talked about from time to time here. Those who are naturally gifted doing the opposite of what Paul is telling Timothy, taking those skills for granted, looking at where things are right now, taking a snapshot of their life, appreciating the fact that they're running ahead of others, neglecting their gift, and eventually being passed by people who are less skilled, but working more diligently and eventually becoming just flat out more skillful in what they're able to do. So my encouragement to you is this: to the degree that God has gifted you and you know what your gift is, that's a blessing, because it can take years to find out what your gifts are. I spent years there wondering, what do I do? What do I do well? Do I do anything well? So once you are blessed with a gift that you can discern clearly, do your best to appreciate that not everybody has that blessing, and nurture your gift the way that it can be nurtured to its potential. And to the degree you don't know what your gift is yet, you got one. The Bible promises that, especially if you are a believer. Sometimes it just takes longer to figure out what it is. But likewise, once you find out, work your gift skillfully. God's best to you as you go forward in him, though.